Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Anthony from Peacock. And surprise, surprise, this is a BBC film that's a Peacock original, and I'm like, oh, Peacock has a new film, so that's going to be different. It's like at least they have some new interesting content they created, and then I looked it up, and I'm like, this is from BBC too? So basically all their original content is from the UK. But whatever, that doesn't really matter. That's just my commentary on something I find interesting about the Peacock streaming service. But anyway, this film, Anthony, is about a young man, Anthony Walker, who was killed in a race, like in a hate crime, and murdered for his race when he was 18 years old in 2005. This film uses a lot of conjecture to look at what his life would have been like if he didn't die that night. And on a certain level, I find this film a little problematic, and that could just be how I feel. You could not care or even think about that when you go in to watch this film. But I'm thinking, like, this young man died, and then you're just going to fan fiction his life after and just be like, this is what would have happened. And to be perfectly honest, the story that they tell of the rest of his life, it's way too perfect and like shiny and glossy, and like that doesn't seem like anything's wrong with his life would be wrong with his life afterwards, as they show him saving the life of his friend who becomes an alcoholic and is living on the streets after he's kicked out by his wife, and Anthony being really pushy on him and aggressively trying to get him back on track, him leading into having his own child with his wife and their marriage, and from a drama and a romance perspective, those scenes all feel like pretty standard kind of romance and drama. And it really just paints his life in, he would have had a perfect life if he survived. And I find it weird. And I might be overthinking this and might be taking that out on this film, but I was pretty turned off by this film. Except once it started getting, because it worked in reverse chronological order as well. So it started at these big highs and slowly moved backwards, and then you start feeling the racial tensions, and you're introduced to some sequences that do introduce the hardship that he had to deal with because of his race, and getting more entwined with his family life. And then it shows that night, and that's when this film really clicked. And it felt very much like a Fruitvale Station. It doesn't have the same energy and direction as Fruitvale Station. This doesn't quite have that. It doesn't capture that. But it was a powerful and moving film once the film Anthony gets to that point. And if this film would have focused more just on that experience and expanded upon that, this would have been a really respectful and powerful film. It felt like it was tacked on at the end of a pretty standard just drama romance. And I don't think that really benefited the story and Anthony Walker's legacy and his life, when they could have just focused on that night and built up around his life and giving you a perspective, because that's something Fruitvale Station did really well. You saw that young man's life, and Michael B. Jordan portrayed it so well, and this film is just this fan fictioning of somebody's life and assuming what would have happened. And I just felt off about that feeling, should we be doing something like that? But maybe the thought of that's a much bigger conversation than just what this film is as a film. But it was fine for most of it, but really powerful towards the end. This is an hour and 24 minutes, and if you have Peacock and you can stream it, why not give it a chance? But the message of this and his memory is an important film, and that's why I'm going to say you should go check this out if you do have access to Peacock. But those are my thoughts on Anthony. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.